Welcome back to Random Tasks. Today's project is going to be replacing the rear brake cable on my Vespa PX125. This is going to be slightly different than perhaps your Vespa PX125, as this is an electric one, which I converted. If you want to see the videos on that, please check the links in the description below. But the reason I need to do this is I was riding home from work the other day, and there was a big rock in the road which I couldn't avoid, and clipped it with my front tire, and it came along and bounced onto here and somehow smacked the rear brake drum arm. So when the rock hit the rear brake drum arm, it basically forced it down, basically the clamp down the cable, and you can kind of see that cleaner bit of cable right there. And so when I went to actually hit the brake after that, I had no brakes, which is slightly scary, but luckily, of course, I had a front disc brake, and so I used that instead and used that on the way home. Now, I've already removed the adjuster part on this and discovered that the rock apparently has actually sheared off the head of the adjuster bolt on this clamp. That means I can't remove that clamp. So the only thing to do really is to cut that and replace the entire cable and put on a new clamp. So I have a new cable, I have a new clamp, I've got a spare cotter pin just in case I screw it up when I take the cable out near the pedal. But that's going to be today's project. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut off the old clamp adjuster. Just use my bolt cutters for that because that cable's really thick. To remove the rear brake cable, you need to start by removing the rear brake pedal. So the rear brake pedal is held in by 2 bolts and nuts on the other side, and 1 bolt going up on the other side. You also need to remove the rubber cover off of that, which just comes off like that. So I've got a 10mm wrench to hold the bolt head there, and I've got my 10mm socket wrench to go loosen them from the underside. So, all right. So I'm just loosen them with the wrench and then get them out with my fingers. There we go, there's one. So once the nuts are off and the 1 bolt is out, this basically just pulls down. It's gonna get off that 1 bolt. There we go. And you just angle it out from there. There. So you can see it's basically held in right now by the brake cable and the brake light switch. If your brake light switch is not working, this is a great time to change that out, which is pretty simple. It's just this thing right here. But so what I need to do is, there's a cotter pin. So there's a pin holding this cable in through here. There's a cotter pin holding that pin in place. So I need to remove the cotter pin and then pull that pin out, and then the cable will come out. Okay, so with the cotter pin out, I now need to just bend the brake back like that, and then push this pin out. There, you have that loose, and then you can pull the brake cable through. If the brake cable is frayed or a bit wider because it's been damaged, it actually would be easier to cut the brake cable off here and then pull from the back, which is probably what I'm going to do. So to put the new cable in, make sure you thread it through the hole in the pedal first, and then into the housing. Of course, if I'm keeping my old housing, if it's been a while since your brake cable was changed, you'd highly recommend putting in a new housing. It's just good practice. But mine's not very old at all, so it's fine. So feed that through. And then you might need to put a hand at the back where it comes out. There we go. That's through on the back end. And feed that through there. Okay. And then you need to put, shove that cable back in. You need to put the pin back through the end of the cable here. So I've got a fresh split pin here. And then I can put this pin in first. So once again, I'm gonna bend this back and just get the end of it in first. Line this up, come on. Nope, fail. Let's try again. It's slightly awkward. There we go. It's all through now. I'll take my new split pin, stick that through. Let's bend that around. And it's very long, so I'm just going to bend it back first, and then I'll trim off the ends. And this is just to keep the pin from coming out. Obviously, don't do it too much because you'll be able to remove it in the future. Good. Bend that back a bit more. Okay. And I'm going to put this up, back up in into the Vespa itself. Good. Okay, it's through one. Let's get the nut on. Another bolt through. There we go. And the other nut. Do that finger tight. And then on the back, last one is the bolt, which goes on the back side here. Find the hole. Oops. There we go. And then use my wrench to tighten it up. But first I use the socket by itself. And then put it back on the wrench. Okay. And bolt. Okay. Great. And then final thing, just put the cover back on. There we go. So now I can switch to the back. So in the back of my Vespa, this is where it differs a bit from a normal Vespa PX. Because mine is electric, I have a slightly different setup back here. Different drum brake, different way of connecting and clamping the cable. But the principle is the same. So I have this combination clamp adjuster. It's going to go up here and into there. And then this screws on the other end, and that allows me to adjust the brake. But again, the principle is the same. It's meant to be a clamp that holds the cable in place on the drum brake. So I've slid that on just loosely for now, and to bring this down here, and get that through. Alright, and then on this end, thread that on there. Okay, so I think that's good enough for now. And I'm just gonna tighten up that nut. It's a 7mm head on that little screw there. So there we go. Okay, so I need to make a couple adjustments, but otherwise, that's that. It's not that difficult. Probably getting the cotter pin out of the front kind of brake mechanism is probably really the hardest part. But otherwise, it's fairly straightforward. Attach the cable up underneath the brake pedal, and then clamp it at the back. So I hope everyone found this useful and helpful, and yeah, we'll see what we do next time. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.